Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the sun at 29 degrees in astrology. Now, first off, as far as 29 degrees in astrology, in a natal chart where there may be issues with the biological father that need to be reconciled, this could simply be the person that can't get enough attention and adulation from others. There may be a distorted need for that, in fact. Now, there also may be an incessant need, an excessive need to be in the spotlight. The person may have a tremendous amount of vitality, energy, and stamina. And though I see this, as the full culmination of the sign, the person that has the sun at 29 degrees in their chart may have an identity crisis to some degree as far as the basic character, because they will be on the cusp and they may come across a little bit ambiguous, a little bit really somewhat unclear to others to some degree, because they could be exhibiting some characteristics, I believe, the 29th degree of their, as far as their zodiac sign goes, which they're at that 29th degree, and then the sign following it a little bit to some degree. So, let's give an example now. Let's take somebody that has the sun at 29 degrees Aquarius. That could give rather, I believe, amplified, intensified Aquarius characteristics. The person may be very non-conforming, exceptionally eccentric, unique, eclectic, but at the same, and even very innovative, but at the same time, they might have a little blending of that Pisces energy, I believe, and be a little bit more compassionate and sensitive and more malleable, more adaptable than the typical Aquarius, due to being on the cusp of Pisces. And they're also at the 29th degree of the sun in astrology. There could be a tremendous need for notoriety, and also there could be crisis upheaval situations in connection with the sign that the sun is in. Now, since the sun can be connected with one's vitality, this person may have exorbitant energy, but there could be a danger of too much energy, which could lead to dissipation of energy. It's kind of a paradoxical degree as far as this energy goes. And the thing about it is, let's take the sun in Leo, for example, at 29 degrees. Now, Leo, by itself, regardless of degree, can have inexorable energy. If it's the sun, the Mars, or the ascendant. But when you put it at 29 degrees, it could even distort and enlarge it even more. And the thing about it is, again, I see the 29th degree in astrology as the full culmination and expression of the sign. But what happens is, if you take somebody at 29 degrees, sun Leo, at Leo, it's the sun in Leo, 29 degrees, the energy level can be so high that at some point the person may actually exhaust themselves and succumb to, say, over exertion from expending too much energy, and then hits a certain point where they're lacking to some degree in it due to exerting too much. So that's basically what I'm saying. Now, another thing about this is that again, when the sun is at 29 degrees, there could be a very powerful expression in the basic wants that are associated with the sign. And of course, the sign that it is in can play a very strong role in the delineation. Now, we take a legendary country music artist, Anne Murray, has her Gemini sun very close to the 29th degree. Now, I see this perhaps for Gemini could be an exceptional want, basic want, to mimic and copy. Now, many of you that have actually followed Anne Murray or know who I'm talking about, she sang a number of songs that were remakes and covers, and she got a lot of notoriety and recognition for having a Leo ascendant. This actually could have come out in a very flamboyant and showy way. Now, and I'm going to take another example. Let's take somebody that has a 29 degree sun in Scorpio. Now, this could give perhaps an overwhelming want to go beyond subterfuge and superficiality and be exceptionally probing and be and really have an exceptional need, or I should say basic want, for investigating mysteries and be very strongly enamored with doing so. Now, also though, let's take a look at the house placement as well, as of course this would impact the interpretation. Now, let's take an example that somebody has this placement at, again, the sun at 29 degrees Scorpio, and it falls in the 4th house in one's natal chart. Now, this may indicate a person that has very perhaps intensified energy on focusing and investigating their roots and their ancestry. Now, let's say, take another example. Let's say it falls in the 6th house in their natal chart. They may have that exorbitant want, if you will, to investigate. But the thing is, it would be more connected with health and work matters. And the thing about it is, and it might be a strong focus on Scorpio-related health issues in some cases, such as, say, the urinary tract, the pelvic region, bladder, and especially, let's say, if it makes an inconjunct to one's natal ascendant. So that would be, and inconjuncts can often be about health issues. So, and also, still going with 29 degrees Sun in Scorpio as an example. Now, given that the 29th degree of the Sun in astrology can indicate unresolved issues with the biological father, again, say this is 29 degrees Scorpio Sun in the 4th house. This could be connected perhaps with manipulation and surreptitious activity that may hit close to home, and it could have very intensified impact on that person's home life. It could be activity that might be connected with the father, or maybe the individual, his or herself. So anyway, well, another case in point, let's say for example that this is if it was actually in Aquarius, 29 degrees Sun in Aquarius in the 4th house, there may be some issues, perhaps maybe say if it's Sun in Aquarius, 29 degrees in the 4th house. This could be maybe some issues with the father due to maybe very strong, unpredictable, non-conforming behavior, and of course this could cause issues in that home and family life. Perhaps in general. So anyway, and also 29 degrees, I would say, I talk about the identity crisis, I would say maybe Gemini at 29 degrees, maybe more so than the others, because perhaps it's the most dual of all the signs. So anyway, well, the aspects that are made to the Sun at 29 degrees can play a role as well as how this energy is expressed. Now, let's say that the Sun at 29 degrees makes predominantly good aspects to other points in one's natal chart. You could see a lot of this positive, intensified energy may be expressed as far as the basic character goes. Now, however, if it makes mainly adverse aspects, you may see a lot of distorted negative characteristics associated with that zodiac sign, Sun sign at 29 degrees, how it would be expressed. Now let's say that the Sun at 29 degrees makes an adverse aspect to Saturn, for example. Let's say it makes either a square, inconjunct, or opposition to Saturn. Well, if there's any issues with the father, they may require more laborious effort and work, and the basic ones, given it's 29 degrees, may be very emphasized and pronounced still, but there may be a number of roadblocks and obstacles perhaps in attaining them. Now, let's say that the Sun at 29 degrees makes a positive aspect to the natal Jupiter, a sextile or trine. Now, this could be more auspicious and fortuitous for attaining the basic wants with that strong, powerful, exorbitant need to shine, perhaps in connection with that 29th degree of that sun sign. Now, another thing I want to talk about is, as far as in predictive astrology, the sun at 29 degrees may signify the end of a connection with the father. It could be an authority figure or a dominant male. Let's say it could be, let's say if it's an Aries, it could be the end or culmination of a contentious, combative situation, perhaps with the dominant male, an authority figure, or even the biological father. Hold on a second, people. Well, anyway, sorry about that, people. Well, the next thing I want to talk about, well, going back, to this 29th degree of the sun in astrology. Now, as far as predictive astrology, again, continuing with that. Now, it could also represent the end of a vitality issue or perhaps a creative endeavor. Let's take transit sun at 29 degrees Virgo in the 5th house, for example. This could be something that reaches a culmination or conclusion that may have required this supreme analysis and meticulous attention to detail that was sports related, such as coaching a football team. Or another example can be something in connection with extrapolation of data in something sports related, such as fantasy football projecting stats, and with a lot of focus and concentration of energy and attention. Now, I want to go back again to an example as far as somebody that I have known well and on and off for a number of years. He has his sun at 29 degrees Gemini. And there was a time, I don't know if he still does this, but he had frequently been taking his father's vehicle without permission. And in order, of course, to go on short journeys and for mobility reasons. He also is very supremely restless and very hyper. He has abundance, I think, distorted amount of nervous energy. And I think all these things can be very strongly connected with his 29 degree Gemini sun. And not just because of that excessive, exorbitant nervous energy and that strong restlessness he's exhibiting, but because the issues with the father, and it's connected with short journeys, taking one's vehicle. Vehicles, driving, that's all, taking short trips with a vehicle for transportation issues, of course, that is all Gemini energy as well. And there could be unresolved issues in connection with that and reconciliation needed. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the sun at 29 degrees in astrology. Stay tuned next time, where I am going to be talking about what I believe, in my opinion, is the most popular zodiac sign. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.